Hello, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Train Your Brain for Positivity. Today's presenter is Terry Bianco. For your convenience, the slide deck for today's presentation will be available on the CPS HR Consulting website. Please visit cpshr.us to download. This session is also being recorded, and we will post a link to the recording on the same page of our website as soon as it is available. If you have any questions for Terry, please enter them in the chat panel on the right-hand side of your screen. We will address questions, any additional questions at the end of the presentation as time allows. And now let's get started.
Thank you, and so welcome everyone. Cheers, I should say. I don't know what time zone you're in. If we're in Pacific time this morning, if not, it's afternoon. Funny how that works. So we're going to talk briefly about train your brain for positivity. And you know, your brain is inside that thing that's under your hair. When you comb your hair, you just ignore it, but there it is, working all the time on your behalf. And so we're going to look at that and how we can make your thought process more positive. And what's happened is being positive has become sort of a value people have, like, oh, stay positive, you know, just cheer up. And, you know, everyone wants you to do that. And yet it's not always easy. How do you change your mind, basically, and you train your brain to be a little more positive, because not being positive doesn't serve you very well. And it sort of brings you and everybody around you down. And so you don't like that, and nobody else does either. So we're going to look at some techniques. This is a short mini session. We have a longer one. It's a 2-hour webinar on August 26th, and I have a slide on that when that will take place, which covers this in more detail. But this is enough to get you going here, I think. So here it is. Everybody wants you to be positive. Just cheer up, be positive. It'll be fine. And, okay, so I'm trying, but here's what's happening to me. I'm having this huge black cloud over my head. That cloud actually is Katrina. It's a shot of Katrina. See how big that is? You think you have a black cloud. So that happens, though. We have, oh, I just don't feel good, or I can't get excited, or I'm so angry, or all these emotions hit us. And it's hard to pull out of that. Or if you're sadly in depression, it's really hard to pull out of that hole in the ground. It's really what it's like. And once you pull out, though, you've got more techniques to do it again if you fall into that hole another time. And then there's, on top of that, a situation that I've coined as COVIDity, which is, this whole sort of low-grade anxiety that we've had with this COVID pandemic, something we have never experienced and probably will not, let's hope, again. So everybody's been affected by it. And and now they're talking variants, and so now it's still there. And nobody knows what to do. There's a little anxiety. So yeah, it's like staying positive is not the easiest thing in the world, but it can be done. So let's think how. So we're going to talk about the brain. So I hope you brought it, your brain. We're going to talk about the mind, and if you've lost your mind, you'll be able to find it here. We're going to talk a little about feelings, perspective, beliefs, and positivity techniques, which you can go away with. So the brain, first of all, this is that organ that's on top, as I said, under the place where you comb your hair and in your head, and you carry it around with you all day long and probably ignore it most of the time. It weighs 3 pounds. It's 30 billion cells that are called neurons. And each neuron has what they call synapses. The neurons connect to each other through synapses, and there's 100 trillion of the, I don't know who counted them, but that's what they came up with in the research I did. And the brain never turns off, even in sleep. And those of you who have kind of crazy dreams, you can see what I mean. It's also true a lot of people, and I'm one of them, makes decisions in their sleep, and you wake up and you just know what you're going to do. So it's been called the most complex and powerful organ in our bodies. It's like amazing. No computers can't replicate it. It's like the most complex thing we have. And yet the brain cannot create. It processes emotions, but it cannot feel. It does not think for itself. It's sort of robotic. It does whatever we tell it to do. So where's all this coming from then? It comes from the mind. And the mind is what we refer to when we talk about our thoughts and our reasons and our, what we tell the brain to do is the mind. And yet, oddly enough, all these thoughts come to us and we process them as, our mind processes them. But it directs our feelings then. It directs our thoughts and our actions, all this that comes to us. We get these thoughts from all over the place. They come willy-nilly. Some of you get them, more than you want. And it's a constant barrage of them. See, look, they're like all over the place. Of thoughts and ideas. And so you get an idea, you like it. And we're aware of we're thinking and feeling, this is a good idea. I need to hold on to this idea. And we have something called mindfulness. We're able to notice our thoughts and notice our feelings, and without necessarily, having them affect us. We just notice, and that's something the mind can do. We're aware of our own thinking. So we have a conscious and a subconscious mind. And the conscious mind is what thinks and reasons, and the subconscious mind is what goes along with what you think and reason. It's the feeling area. It's again a little bit robotic. It'll do whatever we say. It'll do. So in our conscious mind, I know it's getting scientific, but we're like actors on a stage. We think of ourselves as there's an I somewhere in there. We came up with this idea. What? Where is it? It's not found anywhere in your brain. The mind has not been located in the brain. It's just not, no one there. They've studied it. They've done, scans, brain scans, and MRIs, and whatever they're called, epitheliograms, and they haven't got the mind located anywhere. And yet it's what runs us. And so it accepts or rejects any idea we have. The thoughts that we choose determine the results in our lives. So it's a very powerful thing, and it's odd that no one can find it, but it's a very powerful thing. It's the primary feature of the brain, and basically what you think, you get. You think about things, and they happen. So there it is, the conscious mind. It is the primary feature of the brain. It's not found in the brain. It thinks and reasons. And what you think, you get. Now, that's a phrase that goes back to Plato and beyond. People have been saying, when you think about certain things and you think a certain way, it directs what you do. And so who controls the thought? You do. So this is a nice quote about, it's a culmination. Where we are right this second is a culmination of what we've been thinking about. So you can see where I'm going with this. There's some things that might be positive, some negative. So the subconscious mind then, yes, Joy, it'll be on the website. The subconscious mind is equal as important as the conscious mind. It's also something we don't pay enough attention to. It responds to the conscious mind. It's our power center. It operates throughout our body, including in our, cellular level. We have things called neuropeptides that you can actually see emotions working in there. And so the subconscious mind is very, very powerful, and it responds to positive or negative thoughts as directed. And it does either or. If you can't decide, then it'll go wherever I'm thinking negative, it'll be negative. I'm thinking positive, it'll be positive. It doesn't do both. You got to make up your mind, basically. So then it has feelings. The conscious mind gets the thoughts, and you choose thoughts to form ideas. Something happens to you. Now, I'm an artist as well, and I have an idea for something to paint, and then I start thinking about it, and then it kind of forms, and then I get some excitement about it. I said, this could be really good. So you start feeling about the thought. The thought turns into a feeling. Likewise, you can say, they've got variants, a Delta variant is hitting everybody. Oh, now people aren't vaccinated, and go down that route and have feelings that are not positive. So that's basically how we operate. So here's what happens. We have a thought, and then we generate feelings around that thought, usually. And our body actually sets up a vibration to it. We don't feel it. It's not like our cell phone going off. But your body has a reaction. You can get a feeling in the pit of your stomach. You can get a tingling in the back of your neck. You can get Your breathing gets faster. Those are body vibrations in response to feelings. We've all had them. And then we take action based on that. I start painting my painting, or you start, complaining about the situation, or whatever happens. And then we get results. We get results of our thoughts. And so we think, that worked. So here's what happens, though, sometimes. The thought, you could change that, you can make it so it's not a friendly thought. So you have a thought that someone in your office doesn't like you, let's say. All right, this person just doesn't like me anymore. I don't know what happened. She's very popular. She knows a lot. She's always been helpful. But lately, she doesn't answer your emails. She doesn't acknowledge you when you ask her for advice. She just ignores it now. And so you kind of come to the conclusion she just doesn't like me. She doesn't like you. That's it. So you have that thought, right? So what feelings pop up as you think this person doesn't like you? Please chat those in. What feelings might come up as you do that? As you think, she doesn't like me anymore. What happened? What do you have to say about that? If you find the chat box, just put in some things. Anger, inadequate. What did I do wrong? Defensive, resentment, sadness, insecure. Right. All these things. Ugh. Confused. Fears come up. Yeah. Rejection. So all of that's there, all because you have that thought. All right. So yeah, here's some examples. You came up with some of these yourself. Worry, frustration, anger, hurt, rejection, excluded, someone just said. And humans, one of the strongest motivators we have after survival is belonging. And if we don't feel like we belong anywhere, it's very threatening. So that's what you come up with. So your body then sets up a nervous vibration to these, these negative thoughts. What's going on? What's so forth. You feel self-conscious if you're even talking to this person, or now it's not a person, but let's say it might be at some point you get nervous around this person. And so you decide, I'm just going to avoid her. Just give her the cold shoulder, I could play that game too. So the results are she does frankly stop talking to you altogether. She ignores you completely because she sees your cold shoulder. She only talks to others on the team. She doesn't even talk to you. She doesn't mention they're having a meeting even. And the results then validate your thoughts. See, she doesn't like me. I was right. I won, kinda, right? So you have the results based on your actions and your body, and your thought is reinforced by that result. I was right, except you made the whole thing up. You have no idea she doesn't like you. You never asked. You just had the thought, and you kept having the thought, and then you had the feelings, and then you took the action, and then you say, okay, the results. So it's circular. It's circular. So when you look at some of the thoughts you might be having, particularly if there are assumptions about somebody, start checking, did I make that up, or is that actually happening? And do I have sound data that says this is what's happening? And in which case, what can I ask to clear it up, right? So it's pretty simple. There's positive thoughts and negative thoughts, and little kids are real clear about those. Sometimes we hide our feelings. I don't know why, but we tend to do that. But with a kid, you're pretty clear. This kid's unhappy and this kid's positive. He's thinking good thoughts. And so the negative thoughts then that you think is, I work hard, I don't get promoted. And your subconscious mind answers, very obedient, resentment. This is unfair. Right? Then you start slacking off and cutting back. What's the point? They don't promote me anyway, and therefore you don't get a promotion. So you won. Your thought is reinforced. Let's go the other way. You say, teleworking is great. I like this. It's bad why we got here, but, frankly, it's kind of nice. I like it. No commute, I'm free. I want to continue doing this. So then your feelings are, yeah, I'm empowered, I'm free, I'm excited. And your action is you start working hard, you produce results, you communicate. I really like this. I like this, boss. and I'm getting everything done, even more so. And then, ta-da, they say, okay, you're a teleworker permanently or whatever it is. And you're looked on favorably. This person really accelerated it during this lockdown. I really like that the telework worked so well for him or her. And so your thought is reinforced. Same thing, right? And here's a quote from William Shakespeare that sort of sums it all up. Nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. So you react with thoughts and you choose which ones, and that reinforces them. Okay, so I'm open for any questions at this point, but I'm going to go on to the next section because it's so short to this session. Okay, so we're going to look at disempowering and empowering beliefs. What are those? So we all have beliefs that don't empower us very much. They're sort of negative. They're the things that you say like, I'll never get promoted, or I've always been slow, or I have trouble learning, or I'm no good with numbers. I had one, I got coached for a long time because my belief was I am just lousy with money, and I'm self-employed. I work, under contract with people, but I do my own business for like 20 years. When I first started, I had good marketing and I had good product. And I just no good with money because, I'm creative. I can't deal with money. What a bunch of crap. So I had to get my disempowering beliefs out of the way. You can't be in business and not handle money. And so happy to say I now am empowered. And that is through some processes where you change your mind and change your perspective. So where our beliefs come from is outside sources. They come from other people usually. Sometimes they come from us, but mostly our beliefs come from parents and counselors and teachers and coaches and others, leaders. And then your own thought about it gets repeated and reinforced. And so it's like thoughts are very, very, vaporous. You can't see them. They're tiny little threads, let's say. And then the more you think them, the more you work with them, they get stronger and stronger and they turn into beliefs. Pretty soon your thought is like a hard cable. And sometimes these beliefs aren't disempowering. They sabotage us. I'll never get promoted. You're right, you won't. You've set that up. I'm not a morning person. So you're not. You're never going to be happy in the morning. I mean, it's like we do this. And other things, the belief that we had was great, but it doesn't serve us anymore. It becomes outdated. We've had a lot lately. People's beliefs about race, about politics, about illness, about all these science, they no longer serve us. And so they need to be changed. How do you do that? So here's a quote about how you end up with your thoughts becoming beliefs. And read that for yourself. So you keep practicing that thought. I'm not a morning person. I'm definitely not a morning person. I don't like mornings. Da, da, da. Okay, it's up to you. So one way to think about it is when you start asking yourself questions, and there are two ways to ask. One's a thumbs down question, the other's a thumbs up question. A thumbs down question, and remember that the conscious mind is thinking and the subconscious is reacting, and the brain is reacting. It's like, again, robotics. So if you ask thumbs down questions, you're going to get thumbs down answers. How am I ever going to manage this job without interacting in person? Oh, gosh, I don't know. It's going to be, I'm going to feel bad about it. This is a subconscious mind. What am I going to do to communicate with others? This is hard. I can't communicate with anyone. I don't see them, blah, blah, blah. Thumbs down questions. How will I ever stop feeling so anxious? How am I going to stop that? Those are questions that we ask that are thumbs down questions. When I was being coached, I thought, I will never get money handled. How am I ever going to figure this out? I can't even balance my checkbook. I'm no good at this. Yeah. I hate the thought of it now. So worrying is using your imagination to create something you don't want. We have a great imagination. And when we worry and think about how am I ever going to do this and all the thumbs down questions, we're wasting it. So here's some thumbs up questions you can ask yourself. And in the full session, we have an exercise where you can actually work on this for your own specific beliefs. What can I do to improve how I interact virtually? What can I do? So suddenly your mind says, oh, there are things I can do. Maybe I could do this. Maybe I can do that. You come up with thoughts, ideas. What communication options would work best for me? Well, you know what? I could just pick up the phone and call someone, all these things. How can I best meet this challenge and be better for it? Whew, that's empowering, correct? Feels good to ask these questions. And you have an answer for either one. Just know that. You have an answer for this one. It's going to be hard. I'm not going to like it. And you have an answer for this one. I know exactly what I can do. It'll be better if I do it this way, right? So here's some positivity techniques I have for you. By the way, this is another good time for questions if you have any. I'm here. The chat room is open. I love the typing mistake Margaret made. It looks like Greek, and then she fixes it. Anything else? Any questions you have about any of this? Because we've got a little time. What do you do with thoughts that work for you and not work for you? No questions? What question? You must have something. Anybody have some of this that's happened to them recently? Very good. How would you delete the negative thoughts? Don't you have to do that first? Ooh, Lori, good question. Do you delete the negative thoughts? They're there, so there's no deleting. It's like they're there. You need to shift them. You need to say, thank you for sharing. I don't feel like thinking that way. I'm going to shift them. Now, how do you stop from going down the hill? The president is really speaking to me. Feel good. How do you stop from going down the rabbit hole of negative thoughts? I'm going to come up with those right away. So Shannon, thank you. That's that you saying that. Yeah, I have some techniques. But here is when you have something bad happen, you react the way you choose to react. Now, it's just to react. If you react negatively, don't delete it. You shift it and say that doesn't work. What else could I think instead? We're going to talk about that in just a minute. And so it isn't denial. It's that thing happened. It's how you're thinking and feeling about it that you have a choice over. You have complete choice over your perspective and attitude. So you have control over that. And we get into that in a little more detail here. All right, so here's mindfulness is one way to think more positive. And again, we have some exercises in the 2-hour session, but being aware of your thoughts, noticing how you're feeling. So when you say, my negative thought just came up, how do I delete it? You just notice you have it. And it's kind of a relaxed sitting back and saying, interesting, I think that. So and there's some really good reasons to be mindful, and it's a big topic right now. And I like this quote from Anne Lamott about mindfulness. Lamott, everything will work again if you unplug it, including you. So that's kind of what mindfulness does. You pull back, unplug from you think about you think thoughts without engaging in them, It really happened in the workplace just last week. I recognized that vibration you spoke of had an actual physical reaction, very surprising for me to notice it. Yeah, that's those physical reactions are real. They're not made up. They're real things to respond. So you notice it. Oh God, apparently I was more upset about this than I thought. I got to go. Okay, so here's some positivity thing. One of the things you could do instead of delete, you just say stop. Just seriously visualize a stop sign. Have that thought. No, I'm not going to think this. This is stupid. No, I don't, like when I was saying, oh, you can never do money, blah, 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 blah. Stop. I'm fine. Leave me alone. Thanks for sharing. Goodbye. Stop. Stop sign. Another couple of them are self-coaching. Talk to yourself. Another is up till now and from now on. So up till now, things have been this way. But from now on, 6 words, very simple. Oops, wrong way. And so the other thing, I do this often, well, what's good about this? Even the pandemic, there's a lot good about it, lots of opportunities. I'm asking that a lot to people. Where's the opportunity here? What can we do that can improve? So let's take a quick peek at this. What do you see in this picture? Just chat in whatever you see quickly. This is now we're moving to perspective, which means point of view. So what are you seeing now? Couple facing each other, elderly couple, old people, two people in hats. Somebody saw hats. Anybody else see hats? A couple. At first, two old faces. Now I see the people in hats, happy, playing a guitar, serenading mariachis. Okay, and you see the woman coming out of the archway there, and you see a little bottle of tequila there, and a guy playing a guitar to a woman. Anybody see the monkeys? Just kidding. There aren't any monkeys. Staircase. I didn't see the stair. So this is what's called perspective. Everybody's got a different point of view, or sometimes people have the same point of view, but it's a perspective. And the perspective is how we see things. And so sometimes we see things that don't, I mean, we have a perspective that doesn't serve us. It doesn't feel good, it gets negative, it makes you feel bad. And you could have a different perspective from the same situation that serves you better, okay? So we say we're overwhelmed. Oh, I'm so overwhelmed. I've got so much to do. I'm just overwhelmed. I always wonder what whelmed means. I mean, what are we overwhelmed all the time? So why can't you, for the same situation, say you're challenged? Do you see how that feels better? I feel challenged. I'm anxious. I'm really anxious. What's going to happen here? I don't know if I'm going back to work or not. And now I'm concerned. Concerned is, it's still not happy, but it's, it's better. Stupid. I feel so stupid. I can't handle money. I'm stupid. I don't do technology. I can't figure this out. I'm really stupid. Change that. So change it to I'm learning. I'm learning how to do this. It's kind of exciting to be learning and not stupid. You see how that shifts? And maybe you're impatient that you don't know when's it going to happen. And now you can change that to I'm anticipating. So you just use a different word, basically. Words matter, and change how you're seeing things. Huge. I use a lot of this when I do coaching, a lot of perspective changes. So here's the tip for the day, I think, for you. And that is every night before you go to bed, ask yourself, what was the happiest moment of the day? Just, think about what was the happiest moment? Oh, yeah, I remember when that happened. That was good. And you can write it down or not, just remember it. But you're going to do this every night or before you go to bed every day. So what happens is you find yourself looking for the happy moments all day long. Like, oh, my dog was so cute just now. That might be my happy moment. Oh, but wait, here's this. And so you see yourself finding happy moments, and you can only pick one. So you have to, oh, that's a good one. And you'll see them. And then you need to be grateful for them because they buoy you up. They make you positive. And it's a wonderful way to keep your mind and your brain satisfied or happy at least and grateful. So here's a technique you can repeat after me. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to skip. I'm going to be glad. I'm going to smile a lot. I'm going to count my blessings. I'm going to look for reasons to feel good. I'm going to look for the positive. But you can do that. But you could also remember that you have a knowledge about how your thoughts and feelings work. Your conscious and subconscious mind are at work at them, and know that and control that when you're feeling negative. What can I do to shift this away, pivot away, stop it, and go back to something more positive? So that's the end for today, but the full session is on August 26th. That's a Thursday from 10 to noon Pacific time. And we'll have on the webinar, there's some handouts, there's some exercises, and it's lots of fun. So hopefully you can continue this discussion there. And that's it. I don't have any more to say. Unless you do, I'll be happy to take any chats.
Yeah, we actually, I just put the link for that class. If anybody's interested in reading the description or registering, that's in the chat. Thank you for everybody's thank yous. It is about 11:30, so if anybody hops off, have a great rest of your Friday. We do have a couple of questions from the chat. It went by so fast. So the first one is, how do you stay positive when those around you are always negative?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, first of all, feel sorry for them. And secondly, just keep going. Just keep, you'd have to work a little harder at staying positive. And that's too bad, but you have to do that. But if you get suckered into that, then you are in what I call the BMW club, the bitch, moan, and whine club that everybody's complaining around you all the time. And so you don't want to do that. You want to stay clear of that and just stand out above them. And, maybe just ask them questions. It's funny, what makes you think that? I would hate thinking that or something, make sure that they know that you're not buying into their negativity. That's on the fly. That's the best I can say. Is that it, Angelique? Is there another one?
How do you deal with someone who is resistant to change and it comes across as negativity? So that's a little bit of change management as well.
Yeah, change management a little bit. Resistant to change. Then, of course, my coaching hat goes, I don't want to uncover why, what's their resistance about. But let them talk it through, I think. And that might come across as negative, but they're afraid is what it is. And their belief is something in there. Do I naturally have positive thoughts or do I still struggle with negativity? I never think negative, but I'm kidding. We all do. Just a matter of turning it on or off. So yeah, when someone is working on change resistance, that's there's a reason behind that resistance. There's behind every complaint there's a request. So what's the request there? They don't want things to change. That's impossible. I don't know. Just talk to the person is the only thing I can say right now. So, do I have positive thoughts? Actually, I stay pretty positive. I use this stuff. Anything else?
That is all I have.
Okay, well, thank you, Angelique. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful weekend. Positive weekend.